Detroit is a city with a proud history, a legacy which at its height helped put the world on four wheels. But now times have changed. As the city moves forward with that change into the 21st century, we must envision innovative ways for ourselves and, more importantly, for our children. For they truly are our greatest asset and our future. So the question remains, how best to educate them to maximize their chances in the global economy? One solution might be right here at Randolph Career and Technical Center.
As a vocational educator, my role and the role of the staff at Randolph is to make sure the students that come to our school are prepared to enter the workforce or complete a 2-year education, a 4-year education, or go on to apprenticeship schools.
I'm going to put the first little thing on and then I'll let you guys take off from there and I'll keep you moving on it. We'll code everything.
It's a hands-on exclusive school within the district where students work in programs such as carpentry, masonry, heating and cooling, marketing and plumbing.
We're all about restoring it. We'll come back in, we'll clean it up.
Our students must be trained to do something. Completing high school is only the beginning of an education. That's why we are here. That's why the centers were created. And my hope is that our parents, the community, sees us as a value to their students and their education.
It was about, 20 inches by 20 inches.
Here, students have a curriculum which fuses academic learning and practical applications, allowing them the best of both worlds.
Randolph prepares students by giving them life skills. In addition to that, their skills can transfer. They're employable with entry-level skills. Their skills will allow them to go on to higher education.
Beautiful.
Therefore, upon graduation, these students have an edge on the competition when they go on to college or enter the workforce.
I'm a product of DPS, and I'm also a product of Randolph Career and Technical Center. I think it's a valuable asset to our students and to our community. I feel that the students have an advantage here at the Career Centers that they will have nowhere else, especially Randolph, because we're the only trade school in the city that offer the programs that we have here. We have heating and cooling, we have plumbing, we have electrical, carpentry, masonry, we have CAD, we have all the business classes that are needed to help us further our students in the career that's growing.
The facilities here are wonderful, with enough room and materials for each student to get his or her hands dirty. And with some of the staff here also being alumni of Randolph, they help to foster closer ties with the community, which is why every year the school partners up with local businesses and builds a home right there on the Randolph property. After its completion, the home is then moved and donated to a local family.
We are very fortunate that we have the historic Fort Wayne preservation members. They have allowed us to have our students work with them, at least for the past school year. They've been here for years. Our students work with them by going to the lab, and they practice preservation techniques, which they'll be able to take with them through their training into the real world. They also go to the historic Fort Wayne site and utilize that training and put that practice into real-life situations.
Funded by a grant from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, the Michigan Historic Preservation Network, along with the Michigan State Historic Preservation Office, Randolph has created a building arts lab both at Randolph and at historic Fort Wayne, where students from carpentry, plumbing, painting, and decorating will have a chance to help in the restoration of a historic structure, Building 109, the officers' quarters inside the fort.
What we've tried to do is introduce students in the construction trades to the advantages of working on old buildings. And all of the classes at Randolph are concerned with new building. And so we think it's vitally important that young people learn about working on old buildings, working on them in an appropriate way, which is as important and sometimes more important than trying to build new buildings.
It's a great opportunity for the students to practice their skills at historic restoration while gaining some real-world experience, helping to give them a greater edge on most job seekers in the marketplace.
I think it's important to teach high school students to plant the seed in their minds that there's people out there doing restoration and preservation work. And it's important that that they get that exposure early, so they have that in mind when they're going out into their field of work, that there are people that are doing restoration work and it's a viable field.
You want to apply a bit of force going down on the window. I'm a Detroiter, and Steve knows that. Steve is a friend and a colleague. So I'm a Detroiter. Steve had been involved in this program, and he wanted to have some local people get involved with the kids here at Randolph School, restoring primarily historic Fort Wayne, the building we're in right now, but we've also done some classroom time over at the Randolph School, and we're also looking to do a couple of projects on Belle Isle. All right, good job.
The work is difficult, but the rewards are threefold. The students gain more confidence in their abilities and learn about their own history while helping to save a part of their community's cultural legacy.
The whole historical aspect and appreciating the history and heritage of our buildings is something that only a few people have really appreciated in the past. And it's been why mainstream historic preservation has not really been a larger issue across the population. And I think now that we're trying to show that preservation of the building stock that we have is sustainable and it is green. I think it will appeal to a much wider part of our population.
Detroit, like most urban areas, has its fair share of rundown homes and neglected properties. Given attention by someone who not only wants to do the work, but has the skill set to accomplish the task, this could be the key for turning entire neighborhoods around.
There's just not enough people to do the work and do it well and do it in an appropriate way. We have to train up the next generation of preservationists and people that take stock and realize that we have a great amount of really good buildings in Detroit, in every big city, and across the country, everywhere. And we need to let young people appreciate that and make sure that they will maintain and improve on the buildings that we have.
And the parties who have the most to gain in its revitalization are the residents themselves.
I think the building is interesting because, you know, I don't see stuff like this, and for it to be this old and still standing, even though it's kind of falling apart, it's just interesting. I like it.
It don't have to be abandoned like that. Like, it can all be fixed up. When I listen to the certain kind of music, like, it soothes me to work harder.
You never know how this small world is connected. So coming from the teacher that was at Historic Fort Wayne who taught me the skill, I was able to do well enough in the program where I was able to come out and work for his company for a while to really get a good grasp of the skill. And I even do that sometimes as a side work, going to people's homes. If they have some needs as to refinishing their old windows, I will help them do that.
Well, I like to think that my future is going to be bright, but you know, the world can have obstacles to get through, so I like to think that it's going to be bright for me in the future. Because I have the grades to go with the trade, and I can go to SL to be whoever I want to be, and not what I'm limited to.
Our children deserve the best educational environment we as a society can provide. Showing them at a young age that giving back to their neighborhoods and their city is the best way to show them the path to becoming better citizens.
I've seen other cities, you know, go through the same stuff Detroit went through, and to see those cities come back, I know our city can come back, and these kids love the city of Detroit. You know, they claim their city, they claim their streets. So why not fix them? You know, that's the way I look at it. If you go claim your street, do something about it. Fix your street. Don't just claim it, you know. I grew up in the city of Detroit too. They don't believe that, but I have. Grew up here all my life. 6 Mile and Hubble.
Statistically, students who go to their home schools and then come to vocational education schools, they graduate high school at a greater rate than those who are in the home schools throughout their 4 years. We create a service. Again, the students are here because they want to be here, and they understand that when they leave here, they will qualify and open up a whole new world for themselves.
With programs like Randolph's, the goal is not only to educate, but to show our youth that there is a place for them out there in the workforce, and that there is also a place for them in our community.